What's up, everyone? Welcome to Mock Draft Monday, episode 4. As always, got Jimmy, Rusty. We got football on. The UFL this weekend. Great time. Yeah, some good games going on for sure. So let's get into the mock sim here. And we're going to use PFF so we can force feed the Vikings trade down the Patriots' throat.
Exactly.
All right. Yeah. So
I think I took odds last time, so I think you should take odds and I could take evens.
Okay. So, yeah, I mean, nothing changes. Caleb Williams, number 1 overall. No one has changed it. We're not going to change it. Book it.
Yep, and I got Washington, and I got to do the exact same thing we've been doing for a while. Jaden Daniels, quarterback out of LSU. I mean, I know this draft board doesn't love Jaden Daniels, but I think he makes too much sense for Washington, so Jaden Daniels once again.
Yeah. Number 3 is interesting. There's a lot of teams that could come up, but, you know, if I were the Patriots, I would pick Drake May. You need something in the future, and knowing what the quarterback class is next year isn't as strong. So personally, I would pick. I know you want your Vikings to come up.
I still think they will.
I wouldn't. But we'll do it.
Thanks.
And again, 3 first-round picks I think is perfectly fine. I don't think they need to pay any more than that. 8.
At most, maybe a sweetener, maybe like a 4th-round pick in 2025.
Yeah, I mean, 8 picks. You're not picking until the 4th round. Then, if you're Minnesota, so that's the biggest issue there. And next year, you're not picking until the 3rd round. So that's the biggest issue there is massive premium draft capital loss. But let's roll the dice on 29% again.
Hey. You're going to take Marvin Harrison Jr. like we kept seeing him do last time.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, let's go with Drake May. I like Drake May over Jaden Daniels. I think it's just about scheme fit, and Jaden fits what Cliff Kingsbury wants to do in Washington. Drake May, I think, would like the Kevin O'Connell system. They're a Sean McVay disciple, so also gives Minnesota an element they haven't had in a bit in the quarterback position, which is the mobility. That he's sneakily fast. So
yeah, and now I have the Cardinals, and there's one good quarterback left on the board, and I think teams are going to trade with the Cardinals. I'm going to trade this pick with the Denver Broncos. We're going to go, let's give them 12 and a 1st and 2nd next year.
They're not
going to have to force it, but I can see something along these lines.
I wouldn't be interested either if I'm the Broncos. Just saying.
Maybe not a 2nd, but maybe something along those lines. And then I have Denver taking the last quarterback of this draft class, well, top quarterback of this draft class, and J.J. McCarthy.
Yeah, I don't like it. Don't like it. I like Bo Nix to Denver. Fits a lot better in my mind, but
I don't see Denver taking Bo Nix at 12, and I don't see JJ making it to 12. So this is, especially with the top 3 picks being the top 3 quarterbacks, I really see teams getting like Raiders and Broncos getting a little desperate and trading up. So it could be the Cardinals, it could be the Chargers making trade backs, maybe even Titans. But I definitely see teams trading up to try to get the last good QB of this draft class. I don't think Bo Nix is something or someone that really moves the needle for Denver. Unless Denver trades back into the late first, I don't see them taking Bo Nix at 12.
Yeah, I mean, I could see Bo Nix getting pushed up as quarterbacks usually are, but on with the Chargers here at 5. I think this is a good spot to get Marvin Harrison Jr. It's an interesting one whether Jim wants to build through the trenches, but with Keenan Allen and Mike Williams both gone, I think the need at receiver is much bigger than a tackle. And I think with the Chargers picking early in the second round, there should be a tackle there as well, along the lines of Jordan Morgan from Arizona, possibly. So, and give MHJ, and like I said, I kind of like Malik Neighbors over him right now, but for what LA needs, they already have that explosive threat. Didn't really show it last year with Quentin Johnston, but on paper, that is what Quentin Johnston is. He is fast, and then you can have Marvin Harrison as the possession receiver over the middle as well.
Yeah, I agree. I think they expect more from Quentin. And I think right now, with getting rid of Allen and Mike Williams, I think they're essentially telling him, all right, you have the potential to be number one. You're going to get the targets. You got to be better. And this is your year to prove it. And even bringing in someone like MHJ, or if they don't get MHJ, probably Neighbors, I could see them, still looking at, Quentin and just being like, hey, this is still yours. Like, this is your role. Fill it in. And now I have the Giants.
Quentin Johnston's comp was Mike Williams coming out. So
That's true. All right, so I have the New York Giants, and they really could go either Neighbors or Alt here, but I think wide receiver's a bigger need, and I would go Neighbors here if I were New York.
Yeah, Giants desperately need help at the receiver position. Didn't really do anything in free agency, and just re-signed Isaiah Hodgins. Still have Darius Slayton. And another guy that I'm forgetting, but Darren Waller as well. But yeah, Daniel Jones, if he's gonna get anything like back to his 2021 season, definitely needs or 2022 season, I should say, definitely needs some help. Titans, easy pick, Joe Alt. They didn't do anything in free agency at the tackle position. They got some interior help as far as I remember, but I don't know why PFF still has wide receiver on the board. It's not as big of a need anymore. With the Calvin Ridley signing. So yeah, I Joe Alt is the home run pick for Ran Carthon there in the Titans.
All right, so I have the Falcons. I see them going defense here, but the problem is I don't know if they want to do line or corner. A little bit of me, scroll down a little bit, I think. A little bit of me thinks they'd go crazy and go Byron Murphy. But I think the smart choice here would honestly be Quinion Mitchell, cornerback out of Toledo. I think that'd be the smart choice. And they could go Bowers. I think that'd be very interesting if they went Bowers, but I think they're very happy with what they have offensively. And they could go edge and go Turner. But right now, oh, man, I'd either go Mitchell or Turner. But I think corner right now is a bigger need. And I think I think Mitchell's a better player right now. So if I were Atlanta, I'd go Quinion.
I can help you out and say that pass rush is the biggest need. They ranked like 30th in sacks last year.
Mm-hmm.
They do have AJ Terrell on one side of the field at corner.
Yeah,
They do need a partner, but
they do need a partner. I like. Man, I do like.
Also, didn't re-sign Calais Campbell. So.
That's true. I don't want to go Johnny Newton. I don't want to go Byron Murphy. I think they would rather do edge. It's either Mitchell or Turner. You know, with AJ Terrell, I think they're okay with cornerback depth. So I'll go Dallas Turner here.
All right, back on with Chicago at 9, and sets up pretty well for them. Would have loved to have Dallas Turner on the board to pair with Montez Sweat, but it's all right. We can still help Caleb Williams out, and I think that's what I'm going to do. I think I'm gonna get him another playmaker, and go Roma Dunze here. Him, DJ Moore, and Keenan Allen. That's plus Cole Kmet at tight end. That's a pretty solid thing to come into as a rookie quarterback.
I agree. Now, with the last top wide receiver off, I know the Jets want to give Rodgers something, and they just got Reddick from the Eagles, so they probably could go line and go Johnny Newton or Byron Murphy, but I think they really do want to appease Aaron Rodgers and give him weapons, and I think this is where Brock Bowers goes. I think this makes sense. They give, Aaron Rodgers a very good safety valve, and Brock Bowers with Aaron Rodgers could be very interesting.
Yeah, I still don't like people are mocking Brock to the Jets. If I was Joe Douglas, man, I understand we're trying to win with Aaron now, but the injury concerns with Tyron Smith scare me. Mm-hmm. I'd have nightmares about Tyron Smith getting injured. So I mean, I know a lot of people are doing the Brock to New York thing, but I would go tackle and ensure that if Tyron doesn't play the entire year, you got a guy that can play and a guy for the future, because Tyron's literally only a 1-year guy. Finally, back on the clock with New England with the acquired draft capital in Hull. And now it's interesting. They need some help, and they need tackle. They lost Trent Brown in free agency. Mike Onwenu is going to play left tackle, so they need a guy on the right side. And so this is where I'm going to go Talise Fuaga here. Mm-hmm. I think that's the play. Otherwise, especially without the receivers here, I think 23 is a good spot to get a receiver. I think you got to take the tackle here. They're not really hurting for edge with Matt Judon still there. Corner, Christian Gonzalez had a fantastic rookie season until he got hurt. So, yeah, I'm going to go Talise Fuaga here.
All right. Now I have Arizona. We had them trading back with Denver here. And they need a lot of help everywhere. But with no wide receivers or weapons really to get Kyler Murray, I don't think you'd reach for someone like Brian Thomas Jr. here. Personally, I would go defensive here. Mm-hmm. I know I said Quinion Mitchell to the Falcons. I backed out of that. But I'm not going to back out of Quinion Mitchell here. I think Arizona would definitely need some defensive back talent. And Quinion Mitchell, in my opinion, is the best corner in this draft. If I were Arizona, I'd go Quinion.
Yeah. I think that's definitely the play. now that they signed Jonah Williams, like we almost forgot on the show.
That's right. I almost forgot that.
On the Football Friday show. We almost forgot that. But yeah, Quinion, that's a solid selection there. Pair him with Buda Baker back in that secondary. The Raiders, once again, kind of the wild card. You don't know what the Raiders want to do. They're the one of like 2 or 3 teams that I just cannot pinpoint what the direction of their team is. And it was a lot easier before free agency when they had a hole in the middle of the D line and Johnny Newton, Byron Murphy were the easy picks. But with Christian Wilkins in tow here, makes it a lot tougher of a selection. They could go corner. Tyrion Arnold is a guy that I like. Tackle Olu Fashanu is also available. I don't think they're going to go edge because they drafted Tyree Wilson 7th overall last year, had a decent rookie season, but they're looking for more from him in year 2 opposite Max Crosby. So I'm going to go tackle. They need someone to upgrade on the right side. Colton Miller manning the left side. They need a right tackle. Lost Jermaine Illuminor in free agency. So, yeah, give me Olu Fashanu here to the Raiders.
Now I have the Saints, and I'm picking specifically because of one major thing that came out this last week, and it's Ramczyk being hurt. I think they're going tackle. I'm thinking they're going Trey Fatanu from Washington. Maybe Latham, but I personally like Fatanu as well. I think they just need that line depth, especially with Ramczyk being up in the air, and I like Fatanu for them.
Yeah, Faltanu, excellent player there. Inside, outside versatility with the Ramczyk knee issues plus Trevor Penning underperformance makes a lot of sense. Colts here. Colts, I think it's corner all the way in the first round. Sucks. Quinyon Mitchell has been shooting up the boards because early on in the draft process, Quinyon was still at 15, and it was nice for Indianapolis to be able to get him here. However, I'm going to go with Cooper DeJean. I just love Cooper DeJean because of his versatility, being able to play corner and safety. Mm-hmm. That is awesome. The only reason he is down this far, because I think you said Quinyon's the best corner. I think Cooper DeJean's the best corner in the draft. The only reason he's down this far is because he's coming off the injury, the ankle injury. Mm-hmm. So I think the Colts could get a steal at 15. Cooper DeJean, play him wherever you want. He'll be good.
Yeah, I like that pick. All right, I have Seattle, and I think this is a perfect match. I think they're going Jared Verse out of Florida State, edge rusher. They could go line. They could go Latham, but I think Verse is the second best edge rusher behind Dallas Turner in this draft, and getting him would be very, very interesting for that defense.
Yeah, it kind of sucks that a lot of people have Faltanu going to Seattle because you can slide him inside and play guard. Because that's what Seattle needs most on the O-line is interior help. But yeah, I mean they need pass rush as well. Off-ball linebacker is a sneaky one. If Seattle ends up trading back, Peyton Wilson comes into play. I think because they lost Bobby Wagner, they lost Jordan Brooks, and they did sign Jerome Baker, but they still need more help at off-ball. They also need safety big time, so that sucks that Cooper DeJean's gone because he would have been a good fit there as well. The Jags, also another team that needs interior help. So, but they need corner as well. They lost Darius Williams free agency. So I think that fits well here. JPJ, Graham Barton could be guys that are in play. Would love to trade back if a couple spots. Maybe if I don't know, the Dolphins or the Steelers would want to come up for Jackson Powers Johnson, or maybe a tackle to get in front of Cincinnati because they need a tackle. I think that would be a good play, but I'm going to go Tyrion Arnold. I think he's the best corner available on the board here. So Jacksonville can get some secondary help.
Well, I have the Bengals. And I have a trade to announce. This minor trade, but I see them trading with the Eagles at 22.
Why you got to do that to me?
I think it could happen. I'm thinking 22nd and throw in probably 53, and then Bengals would send back like 97, something like that. And for the Eagles, I think they still really want some DB help, so I see them taking Nate Wiggins.
Yeah.
I think they like the speed. I know they just got C.J. Gardner-Johnson back, but I see Nate Wiggins and the Eagles being a good match.
Yeah, I like it, but not trading up for it.
The only reason I did is that I see both the Rams and the Steelers being threats to take him. I think the Eagles would like to avoid that.
Yeah, I mean the Rams, sure. You could go Kool-Aid McKinstry, tackle possibly, but the big men are still on the board. You lost Aaron Donald. Give Kobe Turner a partner inside there on that Rams defense, and it's a steal to get Byron Murphy here this late. So give me the big man from Texas.
Mm-hmm. I have the Steelers. And I think this is where we're going to see JPJ taken. I think, the best center to draft. Steelers have a need for center. Other teams behind them are going to want a center. I think JPJ makes a ton of sense for Pittsburgh. They got 2 new QBs. You want a guy that could, do a good job of handing the ball off to the QB. And JPJ makes a ton of sense to me.
Yeah, I could definitely see that happening. I prefer tackle or wide receiver in the first for the Steelers, just because they have a pretty solid pick number in the second at 52 or 51, whatever it is. But that one right there, I think they could possibly trade up from them if they have to. Zach Frazier is a guy I love in the second round.
Mm-hmm.
And if you even wait on center, on day 3, dude, Tanner Bordellini from Wisconsin. Make sure you remember that name on the center board because he was a beast at the combine.
Mm-hmm.
So Miami here, we could have used that center. We needed some interior help. We lost, I think, all 3 interior players on our team here. We also, though, need some interior D-line help as well. So I think it really comes down to, for Miami, how the board's set up right here. It's either going to be Graham Barton or Jerzon Newton.
Mm-hmm.
If we're good with the medicals, Johnny Newton is the guy, and I think that's where I'm going to go. Big gap there on the D-line with Christian Wilkins gone. Zach Sealer needs a partner, so given Jerzon Newton here.
Yeah. All right, I have the Bengals after trading back with Philly. And I was going to do either Newton or Barton, but you made the decision for me for taking Newton at 21. So I see Graham Barton going to Cincy.
Wow, you like Barton over Latham and Mims?
Yeah.
See, I see Graham as a guard.
Yeah, I could. Didn't the Bengals already sign a tackle this offseason from Patriots for his name?
Oh, they got Trent Brown.
Exactly. So I'm thinking you get Graham Barton for interior because you're going to have Trent Brown on the outside.
Yeah, that's right. I always remember Trent Brown left New England. Don't remember where he went.
I got you, man. It's Cincy.
New England second pick here with the Vikings trade. We already got a tackle, Talise Fuaga, earlier, so we don't need a tackle here. I think this is where I'm going to go receiver. I think it's right at the beginning kind of stages of where Brian Thomas' value comes in, and I'm going to go with the LSU star to help Jacoby Brissett and hope that Michael Penix is available in the second round.
Interesting. Well, I have Dallas, and I think this is a perfect match between player and team. Losing Smith in the offseason, you're going to want tackle, and J.C. Latham makes a ton of sense. You could go Kool-Aid McKinstry, but I think Latham makes more sense for Dallas at 24.
Yeah, I agree. With the Packers here, I see the Packers as an easier one than most people think. Mm-hmm. And usually it's been Tyler Guyton, the guy there. However, I'm going to go with my George Bulldog and Amarius Mims. Do they need safety? Yes, they do. However, no safeties other than, depending if you classify Cooper DeJean as a safety, are first-round guys. Tyler Nubin, Cam Kinchins, those are the next two guys on the board at safety. They're second-rounders. So I'm going to go Marius Mims. The injuries scare me. It might be deja vu for Packers fans. Getting a guy that's injured and just releasing David Bakhtiari this offseason. But I'm going to trust that Mims can stay healthy and hope.
Praying. All right, I have Tampa. They have a lot of needs, but I think what they would like to do, because there's a ton of teams behind them that will probably want to trade up for a wide receiver. I see them trading, and especially at this point, I see the Cardinals wanting to get a wide receiver at 27. So I see them trading with the Bills, just moving 2 spots back and getting a wide receiver. And the Bills getting a wide receiver here. It would probably move 2 spots up and throw in a couple sweeteners.
Let's give. I was gonna go 144, but I think 130. No, we'll do 128.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. So now I have the Bills, and I think they're going to take a wide receiver. And to me, I think the better pick would be Adonai Mitchell. I know a lot of people would probably want the more like Gabe Davis light kind of wide receiver, but I like Adonai for what they want to do.
Yeah, Adonai Mitchell, big body, 6'4", with speed. So, yeah. All right, I'm on with the Cards here, and we got Quinion Mitchell earlier, so we can address other needs here. And center could be a need, but like I said, I think Zach Fraser is more of a day 2 kind of guy. Latu sitting there. Got Dennis Gardeck at edge. But Yeah, let's go with the wideout that you thought the Cards were going to take, and making it a little bit simpler here. Just going to go Lad McConkey, best available.
Hmm.
Uh, who would have thought me picking back to back Georgia Bulldogs?
Never saw it coming. All right, I have Tampa. After moving back, they got good value for their pick, and I'm going to take the player that I was going to take at 26, Latu, edge out of UCLA. I think beefing up that defense is a definite need right now, especially after losing a decent amount of defensive depth in the offseason. And Latu is a great choice.
Yeah, Latu, one of the best pure pass rushers in the draft. Released Shaq Barrett this offseason, did the Bucks, so they need some help opposite of Joe Tryon Shoyinka. Lions here at 29. This is an interesting one. So I wish there was guard available because that's what they need the most is interior O line. However, with the Cameron Sutton news, I think this pick is kind of dumbed down a little bit. Would have loved to get Latu. They also need help opposite of Aiden Hutchinson. But I think with the Cam Sutton situation, like I said, I think they got to go corner and go Kool-Aid here.
Yeah, I think that's the right move. All right. Well, I have Baltimore, and I think this is a team that would have loved to got a guy like Adonai Mitchell or Lan McConkey, but in our situation, they kind of missed out. I don't see them reaching for a wide receiver. I don't see them getting a guy that will be like. I don't see them going for like Troy Franklin or who's the guy out of UNC,
Tez Walker.
Tez Walker. I don't see them going that far. Personally, I see them going edge. I see him going Chop Robinson here.
Another Penn State player.
Yeah. I think Chop makes a ton of sense for them. I like it. I think that works.
Yeah, pair him with his former teammate Odafe Owe.
Exactly.
And they lost Clowney
Mm-hmm.
in the to the Panthers this week. So yeah, I mean that one makes sense. I don't think they would do it. Peyton Wilson would make sense for them as they lost Patrick Queen in free agency.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't recall who they have at right tackle since they traded Morgan Moses away, and they got Ronnie Stanley at left. But I can't recall who they have at tackle because tackle came to my mind first thing when I was thinking about Baltimore, and I was like, I don't know if you're looking it up or whatever, but
Daniel Falele?
oh, Daniel Fa'alele, yeah.
Falele.
Yeah, fourth rounder a couple years ago. So yeah, well, he's that one's an interesting one because he's massive. He's 6'8", 6'9", out of Minnesota. I remember him coming out, monster of a man.
Yeah,
but we'll see. That's an interesting risk that the Ravens are going to take this year at right. All right, 49ers on the clock here, and this could go a couple ways. I mean, Jordan Morgan, I think, is definitely a possibility. Braden Fisk as well, losing Eric Armstead in free agency. You could go Zach Frazier, Tyler Guyton, all possibilities. But and wide receiver is actually sneaky for San Fran because of the Brandon Ayuk trade rumors.
Mm-hmm.
But we're going to trade out. And it's not great. I don't know if it's a great fit. But actually, I'm going to change my team that I'm going with. So I was going to go with the Patriots, but I'm going to go with the Raiders. The Raiders are going to come up. Unfortunately, they're going to have their third round pick. and a second next year.
Ooh, that's a lot. San Fran would probably send back a couple of sweeteners too, like a mid 100s pick, like probably 176.
I don't know. Moving up 13 spots into the first round, a third and a second. That's pretty good value for Las Vegas in my mind, anyways. And this is where I'm going with Bo Nix. Because you took my Denver team, so I had to find a place for Bo Nix, and I think he fits the Raiders better than he fits the Patriots. They already have a guy sort of like him and Aiden O'Connell there, but I think he's gonna like Luke Getsy's offense. So yeah, give me Bo Nix to Las Vegas.
Alrighty. Well, I have the Chiefs. The Chiefs. And this is a tough one because what they need is not what's available. They could go Guyton, but
yeah,
I could see Guyton. But a little bit me thinks they might want to get someone to replace Snead. A little bit me thinks they might be interested in someone like Kamari Lassiter. And a little bit me wonders if they want to trade back. So I'm kind of stuck. This is the tough part of the draft because you just really don't know what these teams are going to do. They could go Newbin and just say, hey, screw it. But I think if they're going to stick, where does Guyton naturally play? Is he a left tackle?
I mean, I'm sure he can play either. He played right, though, I believe, at Oklahoma.
Yeah. They currently have Wayne Morris at left tackle. He's not awful, but he's not great. You could really use
I would use Guyton at left. I mean,
yeah. And I mean, Morris was a former 7th round pick. He is only 23. I mean, he was picked last year.
But the right side is
very.
The right side is Mr. Penalty.
What's Mr. Jumpy? Juwan Taylor.
Yeah, Mr. Penalty. So, yeah, I mean, either way, you're fine.
Either way. I think I don't want to complicate matters, so I'm not going to try to make a trade, and I'm not going to, I'm just going to stick and pick, and I'm just going to go with what I think is the most logical pick here. I'm just going to go Guyton. I think if you're a championship team, you have a $500 million quarterback, just get more depth to defend them.
Well, and it would be a change from what they have done in the last 2 seasons, which is try to fix the tackle problem in free agency, and it hasn't worked.
That's true.
But yeah, here it is. Here is the full first round, our 4th installment, Mock Draft Monday. Bears, Caleb Williams at 1, Jaden Daniels to the Commanders at 2. Vikings come up to get Drake May at 3. Broncos come up to get J.J. McCarthy at 4. Marvin Harrison goes to Chargers. Malik Neighbors to the Giants, 6. Joe Alt for the Titans at 7. Dallas Turner for the Falcons at 8. Roma Dunze to the Bears at 9. Brock Bowers for the Jets at 10. Patriots get Talise Fuaga at 11. Quinyon Mitchell for the Cardinals at 12. Olu Fashanu to the Raiders at 13. Troy Faltano to the Saints at 14. Cooper DeJean for the Colts 15. Jared Verse for the Seahawks 16-17. Had the Jags taking Tyrion Arnold. The Eagles coming up a couple spots to get Nate Wiggins. Rams taking Byron Murphy. Steelers getting Jax Powers Johnson. Dolphins taking Jerzon Newton. Bengals getting Graham Barton. Patriots, Brian Thomas Jr. at 23. Cowboys go J.C. Latham at 24. 25, the Packers go Amarius Mims. Bills trade up to get Adonai Mitchell. Cardinals go Ladd McConkey at 27. Laiatu Latu for the Bucks at 28. Kool-Aid McKinstry for the Lions at 29. Chop Robinson for the Ravens at 30. Raiders come back into the first, get their quarterback Bo Nix, and the Chiefs go Tyler Guyton at 32.
I think it's our first draft where we had 4 QBs in the first 4 picks.
Yeah, it's your fault.
I bet. I got to make it interesting. And the closer we get to the draft, the more I see teams trading up to get the quarterbacks, even if it is McCarthy. Because if you see 3 quarterbacks taking the first 3 picks, and a lot of people consider J.J. McCarthy to be the last really good QB prospect, although I don't really see it. But I feel like at that point, let's say the Vikings do or do not trade up to 3, you still have, not Cardinals, Broncos and Raiders being like, all right, J.J. McCarthy's the last really good QB prospect in this draft. We don't really have a QB prospect right now. We should probably move up to get him.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, the only 2 ones that I really didn't like was the JJ one and the Brock Bowers one. Like I said, the Brock. If I were the Jets, I would take a tackle.
Mm-hmm. I think the one thing about the Jets, and listen, I don't like the philosophy. I think it's wrong, but I really do think they want to go and compete for the playoffs this year, Aaron Rodgers. I think that's dumb, but I really do think they're trying to appease Rodgers and give him something for a playoff push. And I think that's why they got that tackle from Dallas for 1 year. And I think that's because they just didn't want to draft a tackle this year. I think they'd rather get a weapon. And yeah, that was my mentality. It was like, it doesn't make logical sense. Like you and I both agree, not really logical sense long term. But I think right now the Jets are not logical, especially when it comes to just Aaron Rodgers. And that's kind of what my philosophy was with that pick, was just like, they're not going to make the smart long-term choice. They're going to make the choice that makes Rodgers happy and probably puts him in a better position to compete now.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see, like.
Yeah. That's a tough thing about drafting and doing mock drafts. It's like, you have to be logical, but you just have to be slightly illogical enough.
Yeah, it's really the fact of like, how much pull does Aaron have?
Yeah. I mean, look what they did last offseason. They brought in his buddy Randall Cobb and a bunch of other former Packers to appease him and give him what he wanted.
Well, I don't know why they're not giving him Devontae Adams.
That would be a trade. That would be a super interesting trade. Would they give him the 10th pick for Devontae Adams? Because then if you're the Raiders, you're like, holy shit, I can offer 2 top 15 picks to a team like, the Patriots or the Cardinals to try to get up and get a QB.
Yeah.
That could be very interesting.
Why not?
Why not? That makes a ton of sense. That makes more sense than sitting and taking Brock Bowers.
Yeah. But yeah, that is the Mock Draft Monday. Great show. Make sure you catch the normal Monday show in a couple hours, and we will see y'all back probably hungover for the next Mock Draft Monday. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media at FA Podcast on Instagram, and xfapodcast.com is our website. You can check us out here on YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, Instagram, X, Apple Podcasts. I jumbled all those together at that time. But yeah, we will see y'all back next week.